Hello, my name is Steve and welcome to a video on how to reduce bookkeeping errors in ProLedger Online. In this video, I'm just going to give you briefly 10 different tips on how you can manage error reduction. And the first 8 are going to involve some helpful features within the software program, and the last 2 are just going to be more generic, but hopefully as helpful as the others. The first one we're going to talk about is the feature in the program called the integration feature. So which means that ProLedger will allow you to connect with other software tools. And that means that instead of manually doing bookkeeping entries, the bookkeeping entry will come across from the other tool to ProLedger automatically. So for example, if you collect your sales and you collect them through PayPal or you connect them through Stripe or some other payment processor, instead of you manually entering in that sale, it'll come across for you automatically as a bookkeeping entry in ProLedger Online. And this can be all set up very easily through what's called Zapier. And there's over 7,000 programs that ProLedger can connect to through Zapier. And if you show you very quickly, and there's a detailed video on this feature, so it's in our tutorials video button at the bottom left here. You click on that and you're going to see a playlist of videos. So I'm not going to go through the entire feature and how to set it up because it is explained in this video here, and you can see there's a list of helpful videos, and that's one of them. But anyway, if you go to tools and you go to API key, you're going to create a secret key that's only known to you, and then you're going to use that key to connect to another program through Zapier. And there's a you click on that button there, you can see all the different pre-built integrations that already exist. You can just use one of those, or you can create a new one. Anyway, and how it works is there's a video here as well, and you can see it in more detail. But nonetheless, you're going to reduce errors and save time through integration. The second thing is there's an import feature in ProLedger, which means that you can import data directly from an online bank account or a credit card account, and you don't have to manually input all the entries. So, so that will certainly create more accuracy. You won't have to enter in all those numbers, and if there's numbers not entered correctly, you miss a digit or a decimal point, you don't have to worry about that because it's going to be imported. It's going to be error-free transfer of data. And there's a video again on how to import data from your online accounts, and there's also a way to auto-edit these imported entries. So anything that is done through Zapier as an integration, or anything that's done as an import from a bank account, can be edited automatically. And there's a video on how to do this, and so it'll land in a screen and you can click on the auto edit button and build little scripts. For example, if the vendor is SO, make it a automotive gas expense every time, or that sort of thing, and you can greatly speed up your bookkeeping entry process, and also reduce errors by using auto edit. So watch the video on auto edit in our FAQ page. Next thing is default features. And again, there's a video on this, but when you go to the setup screen, you can actually, I'll show you this really quickly as an example. You can set up certain defaults. So by setting up these defaults and hitting save, it'll make your bookkeeping entry go that much quicker. So if I choose the category now, advertising and promotion, it automatically will populate some of those fields for me. And the same thing applies, and there's a detailed video on this, but same thing with pre-written description. And they truly are time savers, and it makes your bookkeeping more consistent and error-free by using that as a good feature. So another one is repeating entries feature. Again, there's a video on this, but basically, if you have a loan payment every month, you might want to set up the loan payment in advance to automatically show up for 12 months in a row, let's say. So for example, when you make a bookkeeping entry, and let's say it's going to be a loan, a lease or loan payment of $400 a month. Well, instead of entering it just once, go up to that little button. Just go to that button to the right of the date field, and you can set it up as a repeating item. It creates consistency. The fewer times you have to make an entry, the less chance there is of an error. And again, there's a video on this, how to set up repeating entry type of entries. So that's another one, repeating entries feature. The other one is regular account reconciliations. So basically what you're doing here is comparing your records in your bookkeeping software with your bank statements on a regular basis, just to make sure that the entries have been done accurately. So for example, on this rec column here, you're going to go through each entry and you're going to say, okay, this parking expense that I had for $23.50 on the 3rd of May, did that show up on my bank statement? If it did, just open that up and choose done. And that tells you that you've reconciled that entry between what you had as an invoice and what showed up on your Visa or bank statement. And if you have a discrepancy, then you can make that correction. Anyway, there's a video on that as well. So reconcile your accounts regularly to reduce errors. Next one is use the chatbot that we've put into the program. It's an AI chatbot with OpenAI, and you can actually get answers to your questions in real time. You can get tax advice, you can ask for interview questions, you can ask for features about the ProLedger program, how to use it. It'll even pop up a video for you and all the rest of it. So it's a very helpful feature if you learn to use it. So play around with it. It's at the bottom right. And when you click on it, you can ask anything about ProLedger, for example, how to record a receivable. And when you type that in, it'll go through and explain it to you, and also provide, if there's a link, it'll say, hey, watch this helpful video on how to do it, and here's how to do it. So anyway, you're going to find that to be very helpful. Just play with it, learn to use the prompt, and you'll get some great answers. The next thing is instructional videos. As I mentioned, we have a bunch of FAQ videos there for you, and that's this button right here on the bottom left. It'll pop up a playlist of instructional videos that you can watch to answer all kinds of questions and make it, do your bookkeeping more accurately, and understand the program better will certainly help eliminate mistakes and help you be more efficient with the program as well. And then also make sure you regularly update your chart of accounts. One of the biggest errors I see when I look at people's bookkeeping is that they tend to make too many account categories. If you have too many choices on a bookkeeping entry, it can actually, it'll break down your consistency and cause your financial statements to be more confusing and generate errors. So keep your bookkeeping chart of accounts to a minimum, and also update. And the other thing is, I often encourage people to create a new bookkeeping file for every financial year. And there's a video on how to do that very easily in the program, because you can have an unlimited number of files with this program. So creating a new file for each year is a click of a button. It'll transfer over all your setup stuff and just give you a blank slate to start with. And then just clean up your chart of accounts at that point and say, oh, okay, I don't have that need for that category anymore. And eventually you'll keep things nice and tidy. So regularly update your chart of accounts and create a new bookkeeping file, maybe annually or whenever makes sense for you. And the other thing is, have some standardized procedures. So that certainly helps minimize things. Just kind of keep notes for yourself. There is a notepad feature in the program, and you can add individual notes to the program, and you can say, okay, how are you recording certain expenses, and remind yourself when there's an outstanding thing that you might want to do, or you forgot to do, or you need to find 3 receipts. Make notes for yourself and have consistent procedure, and say, okay, once a month I'm going to do this, and I'm going to reconcile, and once a week I'm going to make sure I catch up with my bookkeeping. And if you do that as a habit, it'll make things much better for you in terms of errors, because if you wait 6 months to do your bookkeeping, you're going to forget what some of those receipts actually were and that sort of thing. So have some standardized procedures that you follow. So in conclusion, there was 10 ideas here. And so the first 8 were utilize the features of ProLedger effectively. That'll certainly go a long way to reducing errors. And also have proper procedures and habits in place as you use those features. And make sure that you take the time to visit the ProLedger website for helpful FAQ videos, or use that video button in the software program as well as the chatbot to help you answer questions. And if you get stuck, don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to hear from you and give you help along the way. And of course, we're here to answer software related questions. But if you do have an accounting question and that sort of thing, then, well, that's where you might want to have an accountant help you who will understand your local tax implications and understands your business in more detail. But hopefully this is helpful to you. Thanks for tuning in.